Well, we are now 16 days, 15 hours, 59 minutes to the big day, the presidential elections. And now all eyes stay fixated on this day to our political activities, and all the actions continue across the polity. Will there be any surprises? Who will pull a hat out of the rat? But the thing is, everyone is waiting with bated breath to see what eventually goes on at the end of the day. Good evening. Welcome to the program. I'm Chamberlain Oso. While political parties across the country continue their stakeholders meeting, word-to-word consultations, not waiting for any chance to slip by them, and so they're doing all that they can to ensure that the big day belongs to them. And so you wonder sometimes who will lead their party to victory and how will it all play out at the end of the day. Well, we'll touch base with some of our correspondents who will bring us up to the minute, as always, concerning what is going on where they are. Let's look through some of those who will be speaking to us today on the program. Well, Treasurer Chika Noy will report to us from Abia. Dombra Timmy Wood will talk to us from Bayelsa, and Bukola Oriowo will be speaking to us from Oyo State there today. Well, don't forget, we'll also turn to the social media. What is the conversation? What kind of conversation is going on in the social media? Well, our social media panelists and the web team provide us platforms that you can get your voice heard on the program. So there you go. You can tweet at us using those Twitter handles you see on your screen at Channels TV and or at Chamberlain Oso. Well, you can also send us an email if you've got further comments, and that will be at nigeria2015@channelstv.com. And then you can send us pictures. Yes, we welcome pictures from you. Now, here's how you go about doing that. All you need to do is just download the Channels TV app if you've got the Android, iOS, and Windows phones. Just go to those platforms, download them, then tap the Eyewitness menu, and then follow the instructions you see there. Well, joining us tonight, Ikedi Isiguzo is here in our studios. He is the chairman, editorial board of the Vanguard newspapers. He will be speaking to us about the focus we've got here tonight. And then in our studios in Abuja, Ozi Oluwole will join us. He is the Director of Voter Education of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Yes, he will join us via Skype, showing up right behind me there. But you know, today, the Commission had this meeting amongst themselves after that mock accreditation which happened over the weekend. They assessed things and then eventually spoke up about that mock accreditation. Now, there's been several comments about that accreditation, including INEC themselves also spoke up. Let's run you through some of the comments they made. Remember, there was a press statement that was released by the Chief Press Secretary to the Chairman of the Commission, Nakari Do, where he signed a document, and so he went ahead and reeled out some of the objectives. 4 of those objectives he reeled out, and that you'll see on the screen in just a moment. He went on and said, look, part of the 4 objectives of that card reader, which was deployed across 12 states and those regions in the country, is that number 1, to verify permanent voter cards presented by the electorate, the voters. Now, the essence of ensuring that the permanent voter cards presented is verified, they say, cannot be underestimated. And then to also ensure that the biometrics are authenticated, that the person who presents any of those PVCs at the polling unit is yours. You are the legitimate holder of that. And so they, with this second objective, came up with a finding where they talked about the percentage of those cards that were verified and those that were able to authenticate biometrically. And that has to do with the second objective of deploying those smart card readers. They give it an acronym, SCRs. So, and then they moved on to the third one, which is to ensure that the smart card readers provide disaggregated data of accredited voters in male and female, and then the elderly and the youth categories, to ensure that disaggregation is vital for research and planning purposes. Now, INEC had not been able to achieve this before, so they say that demonstration on Saturday provide that opportunity to fully serve this objective. Then there's the fourth one, to ensure that the SCR sends the data of all accredited voters to INEC's central server. There's been a lot of commentary about, look, can this actually happen? Do they have a centralized server where the information you have from perhaps, say, one polling unit, if your card is red, is centralized, and then you could also ensure that things are done properly? Now, that fourth objective, INEC says, yes, it's meant to address that particular challenge, ensuring that the SCR send all of those data that has been accredited to our central server. Now, having listed those objectives, and then they went to this field testing, remember, because they have spoken about simulated tests, but this one was part of the field tests that INEC conducted. And then the commission says, nonetheless, they took a serious view of the high rates of SCR's failure to authenticate voters' fingerprints in some areas, particularly in Ebonyi State. And then they decided to thoroughly investigate the cause of it, as well as repeat the public demonstration in that state of Ebonyi. Now, this demonstration, the commission says, will be conducted in particular registration area involved in the last exercise, and that's Izi-Unuhu in Abakaliki local government area, as well as in Ibi Oziza registration area in Afikpo North local government area. And then they remind us that, look, this repeat demonstration will be on Saturday, March 14th this year for that particular area in Ebonyi State. And then there you go. That's the date where that will be repeated. So they expect that the hitches that were experienced at that time will be sorted out, and then they go ahead and give them and everybody else a guaranteed credible election. But you know, in spite of all of those that have been done, political parties also brought their minds on what they saw. Now, let's start off with the comments of the PDP. Look at that. They talk about, with respect to cloning of the PVCs, and as a matter of fact, even the SAR's test, the PDP, they reject the PVCs substantiated what the DS had said. Now, in Rivers, there were cases, I think it was one of